Hey, what's up, guys? It's Oakley, and CA has revealed that there is going to be a revisiting of Total War Attila. This is going to be some DLC, and it has the potential to be free DLC. So we'll go over kind of how it could become one or the other. But in any case, they released this short video, and what it's going to be is basically an announcement that there is a new faction pack, the Slavic faction pack, Antans right here. And so they have the obvious, short action sequences that show off the different factions. We don't necessarily get the best view of what they represent. Vanadiums, here they get some more nice action shots. Didn't really get a feel for, is one heavy in attack, one heavy in defense, what special characteristics do they have? Kind of like what we had with the one with the Empires of Sand. That one was a little bit more obvious. They went for not necessarily historical, but tried to distinguish them, make them interesting for gameplay. But anyways, we'll dive into what they announced officially, and this is going to be coming out February 25th, so coming up relatively soon. But yeah, so this is the post that CA made, and you'll notice at the bottom they mention this is what you can win from the Make War Not Love. We'll go over that contest at the end, but basically what that is, it's an inter-game competition between the Total War franchise, Company of Heroes, and I believe there's a third party now where basically they try and track how many games are played, and that determines who will get free DLC. But anyways, let's dive into some of the details. So they actually did reveal that they have these wonders, which are part of a new legendary building chain. So I guess that's a new mechanic that they're introducing for these factions. It seems like they're kind of playing around with ideas that are going to be implemented in Total War Warhammer. They also mentioned that there's a last stand battle ability for all Slavic units in the province, which you can unlock. I'm not quite sure how that works. They didn't necessarily describe it. I don't know if that's an in-battle mechanic or a campaign level mechanic, but this should be pretty cool. Slavic culture traits for all of them, basically immunity from snow attrition, 0 colonization cost, and 50% discount for all main settlement buildings. So basically, the 0 colonization cost is going to be super interesting. That means you're going to be able to repopulate all of these dead zones in the campaign, and I'm hoping that helps kind of fix that problem that people had where the campaign maps end up being pretty desolate because of the Huns and other people raiding. So if these guys can repopulate it, that would be pretty cool. So yeah, in brief, Slavic nations can very quickly establish fresh colonies at no cost and begin profiting from them immediately. So that has cool campaign benefits if you want to be the one who reseeds kind of the burnt out remains of the old world. Then they also mentioned poison arrows, which they say is basically it does damage over time, and it's the deadliest arrow type in the game. Knowing how CA balances their games, I expect this to be extremely overpowered, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm interested to see how poison arrows work, really with damage over time. Like if something gets pinged, is it just eventually going to die, or is there a cap to how much damage it does? Because that could be devastating if you're able to just suicide an archer and get a volley off against the enemy general, and that's that. Let's start off with the Antans here. So we're going to go ahead and see that they start in the Stepland. It looks like they are not going to be a raiding group. They're going to start with some cities. So here they give a bit of the background of them wandering around and unifying and emerging as a Slavic power. And they said that their campaign offers a significant challenge from the word go. Faction trait means that they must be mindful of battle terrain and choose their engagements accordingly. So they say their campaign is rated very hard, which is good. People are always looking for more kind of extreme adventures to go on. But here you can see they mentioned that there is a significant challenge, mostly due to some of the mindful terrain effects that you have to take account for. So this is kind of what they further explain here. So you get bonuses to melee attack, defense, and damage when you're in the forest, when you're in river battles, and you have minus 10 morale, melee attack and melee defense and melee damage when you're in the grasslands or the open field. So that's a very, very big ping, which is going to be interesting. I don't think they've ever taken a faction in that direction. I've never seen someone penalized for being out in the open. Certainly you've seen bonuses to being in the woods, but debuffs being out in the open, that is going to be super interesting. The next one, Sclavanians, and sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of any of these, but that's how it's going to be. So these guys are going to be a bit further east, and they here have a faction geared towards slaying nomad factions. which is interesting. So they we'll go over this in the next page, where they basically talk about the bonuses and buffs and debuffs they get. But yeah, they say, they're aggressive Slavic people who descended from the east, taking advantage of the thinly spread imperial armies and raiding Thrace and Illyricum, intent on finding both loot and a place to settle. Inevitably, this has drawn the ire of the beleaguered, but nevertheless still proud and mighty Roman Empire. So I'm wondering, actually, with the introduction of these new factions, how that is going to affect the campaign mechanics and balance with the Eastern Roman Empire, which already has a hard time. So the effects: plus 10 morale, melee damage, melee attack, and melee defense when fighting nomadic factions. So already you get an across-the-board buff fighting those guys. Extra income for every unit destroyed. That is something that I don't think we've seen before. That's pretty interesting. And then plus 5 public order for military presence. So these guys are going to have pretty vamped up military. You can see the more you kill, the more income you get, which is, I really wonder how that's going to work. But that's definitely going to be awesome, that you can get your money not just from raiding settlements, but from pillaging destroyed enemy armies. It's a cool mechanic. Now the next one, the Vanadians, which are going to be further up north, though you can imagine they're going to be kind of nestled away in this corner, so perhaps I'd imagine their campaign's a little easier. And it says here, Vanadians excel at colonizing and building their economy around agriculture. So again, an emphasis on the colonization that we see here. Looks like that's a recurring theme, which again, I don't play the campaign too much, but I do know that the campaign tends to get burnt out very easily, so I'm hoping this helps out. And they even mention at the bottom, with the unique event chain, which sort of majority improves their colonization efforts and all that. But look at the effects here. Vanadian farms carry no negative effects. Squalor and public order, that is huge, because a lot of the time in Attila you're trying to bounce those. If you're not getting a disincentive for that, that is amazing. On top of that, plus 100% income from farms. They're going to be a powerhouse. But on the other hand, minus 50% income from commerce, industry, and culture. So they're really pushing you to play for farms and see what we can build off of that. So that's going to be interesting. I think it's a cool take on those, and definitely the period was calling out for those factions to be represented. Like I said, we're going to go back and talk about this being a part of the Make War Not Love 3. So in the past, I don't think Total War has won previous versions of this. There are allegations of other teams cheating, but in any case, I'll link to where you can find out more. It's going to begin on the 14th. That's it. See you in the next one.